My landlord evicted me for running an illegal business from my apartment, but the inspector's reaction when he saw what I was actually doing left him stunned. I was reviewing flashcards with Mrs. Okoye when my landlord burst through the door with 2 city inspectors and a police officer. Mr. Griffith pointed at the people sitting in my living room. "See, he's running an unlicensed operation and violating occupancy limits." Inspector Dennis pulled out a clipboard and started taking photos. "Sir, we've received multiple complaints about excessive foot traffic and suspected commercial activity in a residential zone. How many people do you have in here right now?" I counted quickly. 18 adults scattered between my living room, dining area, and bedroom that I'd converted into a second classroom. Mr. Griffith cut me off before I could explain. "I've been documenting this for months. 30 different people coming through here every week. Cash transactions. He's running some kind of unlicensed school, and my insurance doesn't cover that." Inspector Dennis walked through my apartment, noting everything. The folding chairs arranged in rows, the whiteboard covered in basic English phrases, the stacks of donated textbooks. "This is a clear violation of residential zoning code. You're operating a commercial education facility without proper permits or business licenses." The officer started asking people for identification, and I watched their faces fill with fear. Mrs. Okoye clutched her notebook. An elderly man named Winston grabbed his coat and headed for the door. Mr. Griffith stood in the hallway with his arms crossed. "Illegal business. City's shutting him down." One of the other tenants recorded the whole thing while shaking her head. Inspector Dennis asked everyone to step outside for questioning. As they filed out, I saw their shame and disappointment. These were people who'd finally found somewhere safe to learn. "How long has this been operating?" Dennis asked. "And what exactly are you charging these people?" I pulled out my binder and handed it to him. Inside were intake forms, attendance sheets, and progress reports for every student. 8 months. "And I'm not charging them anything. This is a free adult literacy program for refugees and homeless individuals." Dennis flipped through the pages slowly. Mr. Griffith scoffed. "Free? Then explain why I've seen people handing you envelopes." I walked to my desk and pulled out a folder stuffed with letters. "These are thank you notes. Some students leave small donations to cover materials, but I've never asked for money. I'm a retired teacher. I use my pension to buy books and supplies." Dennis read through several letters while Mr. Griffith shifted uncomfortably. One letter was from a woman who'd learned to read well enough to pass her citizenship test. Another was from a man who could finally read bedtime stories to his grandchildren. Dennis opened my filing cabinet and found more documentation, reading assessments, lesson plans, partnerships with 3 local libraries, and 2 refugee resettlement agencies. He picked up a binder labeled Student Success Stories with photos of people holding their GED certificates, job acceptance letters, and citizenship papers. Inspector Dennis called over the police officer and showed him the documentation. Dennis asked to speak with a few students individually. Mrs. Okoye told him she'd been in America for 5 years, but couldn't read English until she found my program. Winston explained he'd been homeless for a decade and was finally able to fill out job applications. A younger woman named Amira said I'd helped her study for her nursing entrance exam, and she'd just gotten accepted to community college. "How many students have gone through this program?" Dennis asked. I checked my records. 112 people have completed basic literacy. 63 have gotten their GED. 28 have passed citizenship tests. Dennis turned to Mr. Griffith. "Did you also contact the refugee center and tell them this program was being investigated for fraud? We have a complaint filed by a landlord claiming this operation was scamming vulnerable immigrants." My stomach dropped. Mr. Griffith backed toward the hallway. "I had to protect my property. People were getting suspicious about what was really going on in here." The officer spoke up. "Sir, we've received noise complaints from you at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. on weekdays. The complaint logs show you filed them the same nights refugees attended classes after their work shifts." Inspector Dennis told Mr. Griffith the eviction was invalid and I could stay.